The world of F1 is a wild and wacky place, with real life presenting us with a gargantuan title battle between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. We decided to take to the game F1 2021 to see what the game predicted for the 2021 Formula 1 season. This is the first episode of a new series, so here it is. This is the 2021 Formula 1 season according to F1 2021. Just like real life, we had an incredible championship battle on our hands in 2021, but not between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Instead, the Brit fought it out with his teammate Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton claimed a record 8th driver's title in Australia, eventually winning the title by 58 points. Let's take a more in-depth look at the teams and drivers from this very first season. First up, we have the Mercedes F1 team. Mercedes once again proved to be the top dogs for the season, with no one being able to get within touching distance over the long run. They easily claimed the Constructors' crown, winning 18 of the 20 races in 2021, with the winning margin being just over 300 points. Their first driver was Lewis Hamilton. Lewis once again proved why he was the best on the planet this year, winning an 8th driver's title in dominating fashion. He won 11 races across the season, equaling his record wins tally in a single year. His teammate was Valtteri Bottas. Arguably his best Formula 1 season to date, Bottas gave Lewis a good run for his money in the drivers' standings and was a clear second place when it came to season's end. The Finn picked up 7 wins over the course of the season, and if it hadn't been for retirements in Italy and more crucially Australia, we could have seen a much closer title fight. The next team we're looking at is Red Bull. Red Bull had a year of slight regression in 2021 with an overall disappointing car which was nowhere near the pace of the Merc machine. Both Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez both continually struggled over the course of the year as the team failed to pick up a Grand Prix victory for the first time since 2015. They even managed to lose out on a second place Constructors finish. Their number one driver was obviously Max Verstappen. The Dutch sensation was left frustrated by poor car which rarely yielded results in 2021. He sat on the podium just 7 times in the season, with the highlights being 2 second place finishes in the last 2 races of the season. Max finished with a final points standing of 5th. Man, what a disappointing year for the Dutchman. His teammate was Sergio Perez, who was also caught out by the Red Bull's slow pace. In his first year with the team, Checo failed to hit the ground running, finishing 6th in the drivers' standings. The Mexican could only claim 2 third place finishes across the year, and that's about as good as it got. He had his share of bad luck as well, when the car retired on 3 separate occasions. Up next is Aston Martin. With a complete rebrand of the former Racing Point team, there are high expectations heading into 2021, and while they didn't completely live up to them, it was a solid first year. 5th place in the Constructors mean they finished slap bang in the middle of the field and will hope to make progress in 2022. Sebastian Vettel definitely proved his worth. The 4-time world champion had a career renaissance in 2021 as he scored 99 points for the team this season, the German still proving that he can get the best out of his equipment. Seb had an 8th place points finish, with the highlight being a 4th place run at Monza. He outperformed teammate Lance Stroll. While the P10 in points looks like a decent year for the Canadian, he got battered around the park by his veteran teammate. A measly 26 points scored across the season means Lance is under a lot of scrutiny heading into the off-season, with a best finish of 7th all year round. It wasn't the year he wanted, and Lance will certainly have to look to improve in 2022. Up next we have the McLaren F1 team. McLaren shocked everyone with a huge breakout year in 2021. With the introduction of the Mercedes power unit, it propelled the team to new heights as they get ever closer to becoming a title contending team once again. Their drivers sat on the podium for a combined total of 14 times as the team went on to score a 2nd place Constructors finish and their first Grand Prix victory in over 9 years. Lando Norris was the driver to score that win. Winning not once but twice in 2021, Lando Norris had almost fulfilled his potential for the McLaren team. The victories came at the Italian and Japanese Grand Prix, and these helped him onto a 3rd place points finish. Can Lando take that extra step further and emerge as a title challenger in 2022? His teammate was Daniel Ricciardo. While he couldn't score a Grand Prix victory, it was still an excellent first year at McLaren for Daniel Ricciardo. A whole plethora of podiums for the Aussie, including 2 runner-up finishes at Austria and Britain, ensued a P4 points finish, the highest since his 2016 season. Up next to Ferrari. And while it certainly wasn't as bad as their 2020 season, there was no fireworks from the prancing horses in 2021. They meandered their way to a cool 4th place constructors finish, and with new regulation changes coming soon, they look to get back to the top of Formula 1. Charles Leclerc is their first driver. A fairly average year for the Monacanese youngster. Charles scored a P7 points finish, beating out former teammate Sebastian Vettel. The highlight of the year was definitely the podium finish in the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, where he finished in 3rd place. Alongside him was Spaniard Carlos Sainz. Sainz's first year at Ferrari can be described as okay. He wasn't up to the pace of teammate Leclerc. He scored points on a regular basis, which I suppose is good enough. Sainz will have to step up his game in 2022 though, as youngster Mick Schumacher continues to gun for a spot in the top team. Up next is the Alpine F1 team. The Alpine F1 team had a poor 2021. Not making the strides to join the higher mid-pack battle, they scored just 12 points over the entire F1 season on their way to a dull and glum 7th place constructors finish. Veteran Fernando Alonso joined the team at the start of the season, and it was an unspectacular year for the Spaniard, who announced his retirement at the Russian Grand Prix. Despite this, he did claim a majority of the team points, scoring 11 of the 12 for the team. His highest finish was a P8 at Spa. 2-time world champ now exits the sport, vacating an empty seat ahead of the 2022 season. His teammate was Esteban Ocon. My word, what a horrible year for the Frenchman. Just 1 point from 20 races and outperformed by his aging and ailing teammate, Ocon has just not got to grips with the car since the return to Formula 1 in 2020. More improvements must be needed for the driver in 2022. Next up's AlphaTauri. The junior team to Red Bull, AlphaTauri has had a quiet but fairly decent season. The team's tally of 32 points in the 6th place constructors finish can be viewed as a success, and they will hope to continue to build a healthy supply line to the main Red Bull F1 team. Their first driver was Pierre Gasly. Not the finest year by the Frenchman, he didn't show the greatest amount of pace like he did in 2020. He scored points on 6 occasions this year and ended up P12 in the standings as the best of the rest. His performances did pick up towards the end of the year, with a 7th and 8th place finish in 2 of the last 4 races. His teammate was rookie Yuki Tsunoda. A good rookie campaign from the Japanese ace, Yuki Tsunoda managed 13 points on his way to a 12th place finish. The highlight of the year was an excellent 6th place at Monza, and the Red Bull Academy driver looks destined for a solid future in F1 if he can build off of this season. The next team was Alfa Romeo. A bland and quite simply boring year for Alfa Romeo. They did not have the car to be competitive this time round, failing to score a single World Championship point. Finnish driver Kimi Räikkönen announced his retirement at the Belgian Grand Prix, exiting the sport alongside fellow world champion Fernando Alonso. Kimi had a typical year, only retiring once across the 20-race season, but failed to make any other impact. He also went pointless in this year. The same can be said for teammate Antonio Giovinazzi. Antonio Giovinazzi having the most Antonio Giovinazzi season ever. He did nothing, ran outside the points for the entire year, and will probably land another F1 drive in 2022. When will the Italian show any sign of promise? Up next is the Haas F1 team. The American F1 team, Haas had a very poor car for 2021, and alongside Alfa Romeo and Williams, they failed to score points this season. The one bright spark was German Mick Schumacher. While he didn't score any points, rookie Mick Schumacher still had an impressive year, garnering multiple 13th place finishes in an extremely slow Haas F1 car. Is he potentially set up for a better team in 2022? Alongside him was teammate Nikita Mazepin. Well, certainly a controversial and erratic driver in the real world, in the game F1 2021, Nikita Mazepin experienced a simple and uneventful rookie year. While he couldn't keep up with teammate Schumacher, Mazepin's season was certainly not horrible and will hope to retain his seat heading into 2022. The final team is Williams. While Williams try and get off the bottom of the F1 ladder, they couldn't make any progress this year, remaining smack bang at the bottom for 2021. George Russell led the line, and he still has not scored his first Drivers' Championship points. And to be honest, he was never really close to doing it this year either. Maybe it's time for George to move on for the benefit of his own career instead of sticking around in the Williams team that isn't really doing much. His teammate was Nicholas Latifi. The less said about Nicholas Latifi's season, the better. Easily the worst driver on the grid this year, Latifi was extremely slow and off the pace at most Grand Prix this season. His best finish all year round was a P16 at Australia, simply just not good enough. And that rounds off the 2021 season according to F1 2021. We're looking forward to following up this episode with the 2022 season. If you like this series and the idea, then please give us a thumbs up, a sub, and until next time, see you later.